All right, folks, how you doing? Welcome back. So I've just watched the trailer for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And so this is just a ramble, basically, my initial thoughts and opinions and all the rest. First of all, why does Samson no longer care about his baby? He went fucking ballistic the last time. He almost killed Dr. Was it Kelson? But this time around, Samson just seems to want to stare at him and I don't know, look at him. Even though in the first movie, Kelson said that the virus doesn't like iodine. Well, apparently that doesn't matter anymore. I thought if anyone was going to fuck up the Lindisfarne town, it was going to be Samson, not the Jimmy gang. But apparently I was wrong about that. So yeah, Samson doesn't care about his baby anymore. He just kind of gave up on it, and now he's BFFs with Dr. Kelson for some fucking reason. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Where's Aaron Taylor Johnson? He was a pivotal character in the first movie. Well, not the first movie, in 28 years later, the first of this particular potential trilogy, but he's not in the trailer at all. So I guess he doesn't matter anymore. He didn't go out looking for Spike or anything like that. When you break it down in the trailer, he's not actually in it. There's a guy that looks kind of like him because he's got like a beard and long hair and all the rest, but that's not Aaron Taylor Johnson. If you slow it down, it's not him. So yeah, he's just vanished from the story for, I don't know, some reason. And it's rather confused whether it is actually Lindisfarne, Holy Island, that Jimmy and his gang are setting fire to and capturing people from and torturing them. I'm not sure because we do see in the trailer that they approach some kind of city. Possibly it's Newcastle. I don't know. Given the geography from the first movie, it might be. I'm not very familiar with Northeast England, but they seem to have this hideout in this local city, so it might be Lindisfarne or it might not. But then why would Spike lead them back to Lindisfarne, and why the fuck would they let them in? These guys just look a bit. They don't look very trustworthy with their tracksuits and blonde hair and bad teeth. You know, I mean, they don't look right in the head at all. And we've seen that the Lindisfarne community do have rules and vigilance. They're all not fucking idiots. Why the hell would they let them in? Even if Spike were to be like, listen, these are good people, let them in. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that, Spike. You're 12 years old. Sit down, son. Not sure. I don't know how they get in. The whole point that was set up in the first movie is that Lindisfarne is defensible. It's accessible through a 2.5 mile causeway, and you can only get there at low tide. And they have people on watch. And a community that survived 28 years in a zombie apocalypse is not going to suddenly drop their guard because a 12-year-old who set fire to the supply shed vouched for them. Doesn't really add up, does it? What else? Um, yeah, it's not a big stretch that the Jimmy gang, based on Jimmy Savile, are murderous um, torturers. I mean, why does Spike trust them? We saw in the first movie that he and Jamie, they walked into an abandoned house and saw a tied up infected with Jimmy written into the body, and we see more of that in the trailer for part two here. So why is Spike not trying to run away? Or maybe he is trying to run away. Maybe he feels like he doesn't have a choice, that his survival depends upon, at least temporarily, joining the Jimmy gang in the same way that Daryl kind of half-heartedly joined the Claimers, I guess. You know, I don't know. Doesn't We'll see. We'll have to give it the benefit of the doubt on that one. Heavy focus on trains for some reason. I don't know why. There was this one particular train carriage, which I guess was from the first one, and it's featured quite a lot in this one. And where does Samson get clothes? In part one, Samson was freaking out and going on a fucking rampage looking for his baby, but as I say, he just seems to have forgotten about it in between movies. Now he wants to be pals with Dr. Kelson, who shoots him every chance he gets and knocks him out. I don't know. It doesn't really add up. We don't see Cillian Murphy in the trailer. at all. That was the big tease, the big premise. So that's that out the window, I suppose. Unless it was Killian Murphy who Samson threw out the window. But I don't think so. I don't know. Doesn't look that great, to be honest. How's Dr. Kelson not starving? What's he eating? What's he drinking? I'd want to boil the water. You see them actually do that in part one. Um, I think there's a scene where Aaron Taylor Johnson's character has boiled the water before he puts it into the flask, which makes sense. You should always boil water under such a circumstance. But don't know. Also, how come the Jimmies have not discovered the Bone Temple before now? Because you can see the plumes of smoke, and in an environment where it's a wasteland, and there's not really anything there except for animals and infected all over the place. A fire would stick out like a sore thumb. In fact, more to the point, how come the infected haven't overrun the place? We saw that Samson was able to get in. How come other infected weren't able to get in? A big, huge fire, with the smell of burning flesh would draw all kinds of attention in a wasteland post-apocalypse. I get the feeling I'm just too intelligent to enjoy these movies because I think of things like this. I don't know. Jimmy and his gang wouldn't have noticed a big plume of smoke in broad daylight or noticed the smell in a wasteland. You know, these movies completely contradict the first two, particularly the first one. It's just gone off the rails like the train. you know, Nothing about part one and potentially part two from the trailer adds up with the premise of the original. I mean, the whole notion of alphas and slow-mos and all the rest of it, or slow-los, whatever it was. No, the whole point with the virus, if you go back and watch the first one, is it burns itself out very, very quickly. But even if you're following the logic of the alphas and Samson, even between part one and part two, it doesn't make sense. He's suddenly, I don't know, not concerned about his baby anymore. As I say, if I thought anyone was going to take down Lindisfarne, it was the Samson Alpha, not the Jimmies. We don't really know whether they actually go to Lindisfarne. We don't have enough information in the trailer, because it does look like they go to another city or another settlement, presumably Newcastle, I don't know, or maybe a smaller town in the northeast of England. But the people in Lindisfarne would never let them in. They're not fucking stupid. They're organized, and they also had a rule as well, almost forgot this, that if you leave, no one's coming out to look for you. So if you leave, you're on your own. And Spike comes back with this gang of weirdos, with blonde wigs and jewelry and all this, looking like complete psychos, and they let them back in. No. Remember that Spike's last act before he left Lindisfarne was to burn the supply shed. So I don't think he'd be particularly welcome after that, considering the precarious nature of their existence. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.